Good evening. You're watching The Big Story with Haryanto Diman. I'm Olivia Quay, coming to you live from the Straits Times newsroom.
We begin with updates on the Covid-19 situation here. 14 students from the National University of Singapore are confirmed to have been infected. All are imported cases. The university's Dean of Students, Associate Professor Leong Ching, said in a blog post that upon arrival in Singapore, the students were transported directly from the airport to their homes or hotels to serve their 14-day stay-home notices. Professor Leong added that in the past 2 weeks, 93% of NUS 1,400 students overseas have been brought back home. The remaining students will be back this week and will be placed on stay-home notice. Prof Leong also said that 2 students have breached their notice and have been reported to the Immigration and Checkpoint Authority. In addition to being subject to the Infectious Diseases Act, the breach of the notice will also be brought to the attention of the NUS Board of Discipline. Here are the latest local numbers. The Health Ministry announced 3 new clusters last night as a further 35 new cases were identified. The new clusters are Foreign Worker Dormitory at number 2 Seletar North Link, Service Apartment Block Wilby Residences at Wilby Road and the Heroes Bar at 69 Circular Road. 4 cases are linked to the dormitory, while 7 are linked to Wilby Residences and 5 cases are linked to the bar. In total, 26 of the 35 new cases were locally transmitted with no recent travel history abroad. The remaining 9 were imported cases. The total number of confirmed cases in Singapore now stands at 879. 228 have recovered, 19 are in critical condition. On tomorrow's show, a special one-on-one conversation with Minister for National Development Lawrence Wong. He's also the co-chair of the Covid-19 Multi-Ministerial Task Force. And he'll be speaking to the Straits Times senior health correspondent Sama Khalik on Singapore's ongoing measures to flatten the curve. In other news, ERP will be suspended at most locations from next Monday, April the 6th. All gantries in the city and several on arterial roads will see zero charge. In light of the Covid-19 pandemic, which has seen less commuting, Transport Minister Khaw Boon Wan has asked the Land Transport Authority to bring forward the usual quarterly review of ERP rates. In total, 74 out of 77 gantries will see a reduction of up to $2. Now, initiatives like Stay Healthy, Go Digital, as well as the contact tracing app Trace Together are some ways the Singapore government has kept up its technology push even during the Covid-19 outbreak. But since the pandemic hit our shores, we have heard fake news being circulated. Recently, for example, there were rumours about Singapore going into DORSCON red, as well as schools being closed. Earlier today, Minister for Communications and Information, Iswaran, spoke to Money FM 89.3 about how the government is trying to manage misinformation.
Well, I hope you've subscribed to our gov.sg WhatsApp. So you will know that we put out the information very quickly to say we are not going to DORSCON red, we are not doing school closures, because we have to respond. And the fact that we have this reach of nearly 1 million subscribers and sending out more than 1 million messages because it's in 4 languages helps us a great deal. And I think the key point in all of this is really ensuring that people have timely information. And that's one of the focal points in our effort. And your particular question was on
schools being closed. Do you have a team tracking all the fake news around social media to react to it?
Well, I think fake news and the incidence of fake news, I think there's been a salutary effect. The fact that early in this experience, we moved very decisively on a few instances, MRT station closing down, etc., etc. And I think as a result, it has in general had a salutary effect. So, even in private messaging services, where sometimes such news is very quick to circulate, what I find now is the instinct is for people to ask the question, is this fake? Is this real? Which I think is a very good instinct, because what it means is people realize that they need to question the source, the authenticity of the information and its reliability. And you always have the access to official sources, whether it's MOH's website, gov.sg website, and also our WhatsApp service. So you can then satisfy yourself that this is in fact the truth, authentic information before you share it with your loved ones and your friends.
Yeah, or you can check the Straits Times or listen to Money FM. Minister.
Absolutely. I think the media plays a very important role, you guys and the entire team in the media industry, because it's key.
Yeah.
Because the mass media remains the mainstream media remains one of the key sources of information that people rely on.
Moving overseas, the US still has the most number of confirmed COVID-19 cases with over 164,000 and over 3,100 deaths.
Italy is the country with the second most infections. More than 101,000 cases and close to 11,600 people have died.
Meanwhile, there are almost 88,000 cases in Spain with over 7,700 deaths.
Mainland China today reported a rise in new confirmed cases, reversing 4 days of decline. This due to an uptick in infections involving travelers arriving from overseas. China has over 81,500 cases and around 3,300 deaths.
Meanwhile, the World Health Organization said today the pandemic around the world will not stop anytime soon and countries need to step up to slow down the virus spread.
We recognize that there is no one-size-fits-all approach to preparing for and responding to an emergency like this. But we have found common tactics in these countries. Those are finding, isolating, and testing case early, tracing and quarantining contacts quickly, and putting in place multiple public health interventions to increase physical distance between people to slow and stop transmissions, and mobilizing and engaging every community to protect themselves and the most vulnerable. Even with all of these measures, the risk will not go away as long as the pandemic continues. Rather, these measures can buy us valuable time to prepare for large-scale community transmission.
Once more, look out for a special episode tomorrow, a one-on-one conversation with Minister for National Development, Lawrence Wong. He's also the co-chair of the COVID-19 Multi-Ministerial Task Force, and he'll be speaking to the Straits Times senior health correspondent Salma Khalik on Singapore's ongoing efforts to slow the spread of the virus.
Singaporeans across the island joined hands at 8 p.m. last night to clap in a show of appreciation for those on the front lines of the COVID-19 fight. Applause and cheers could be heard from Pasir Ris to Jurong.
The call was started by a British expatriate, Martin Verga, who was inspired by a similar initiative in the UK, and he joins us now over Skype. So Martin, what did you make of last night's response to your call of action?
Well, you know what, just completely overwhelming. To hear Singapore roar, with applause and saucepans banging I hear and shouts of Ole was just absolutely incredible. And all that the frontliners, they deserve this and so much more for their dedication at this time.
Martin, if you could share with us, how was this implemented? You put up an event notice on Facebook and, just hope for the best.
Yeah, pretty much, to be honest. I set it up as a Facebook event on Friday after watching the highlights from the UK on Thursday. And, I invited a few friends just to try and spread the word a bit. And then I think on Sunday, it was a pretty slow start. And then Sunday, the media got hold of it and it just went viral. And we just got so many people putting in great words and attending as such.
That's great. Martin, now that you've gotten the ball rolling, so to speak, do you think the public will continue this initiative that you started without having someone, calling for it on social media?
Well, it's a tough one. I've had many people get in contact since last night happened, saying, can we do this every week? Can we do this every month? And, there needs to be a, should we do this next Monday at 8 o'clock? Now that the event is known by more people. I think we can, but, there does need to be a platform of the time that it's done so that it doesn't, lose its effect.
Well, Martin, thank you so much for speaking with us. I guess we'll see whether the call will be continued tonight or even next week. That was Martin Verga, who called on Singaporeans to clap from their windows and balconies last night for our COVID-19 frontline workers.
Now, once again, I'm Haryanto Diman with Olivia Quay. We leave you with these scenes across Singapore thanks to Martin's call to action.
Mr. Speaker, words are not sufficient to express our appreciation for all of those who are. And I just want to say a big thank you to everyone who's doing their part.